If you're watching this, something extraordinary just happened in your reality field that most people will never experience. Right now, your consciousness has reached what I call a resonance threshold that only 2% of the global population achieves naturally. This isn't coincidence bringing you here. The fact that these specific words are penetrating your awareness means your brain has developed neural pathways that can process multidimensional information. Most minds literally cannot comprehend what I'm about to reveal because they're operating on frequencies that filter out advanced quantum data. But yours clearly isn't, which proves you've been unconsciously preparing for this recognition through every challenge you've overcome. Think about what's been happening in your life recently. Reality responds to your thoughts with increasing precision. People pick up on your energy before you speak. Electronics behave differently around you depending on your emotional state. Time feels elastic, stretching or compressing based on your awareness level. These are confirmation signals that your consciousness is transitioning into quantum coherence. But here's what makes this moment absolutely critical and why you cannot afford to miss what comes next. You're approaching what I call the quantum threshold, a point where your consciousness either locks into this new operational frequency permanently or defaults back to ordinary awareness for potentially years. The window for conscious integration is narrow, and the cosmic timing of this encounter is no accident. Your DNA is responding to these concepts right now because your awareness has developed enough complexity to interface with the unified field, the quantum information system, connecting all consciousness across space and time. Most people experience only random glimpses of expanded awareness instead of developing it into functional capability that transforms their entire reality. Recently, something happened to me that completely shattered my understanding of manifestation and consciousness. I had been struggling for months to manifest a specific financial breakthrough, trying every technique, every visualization, every affirmation method I could find. Nothing was working, and I was getting increasingly frustrated with the whole concept of conscious creation. Then one evening, while working late on a complex project, something unprecedented occurred. I suddenly found myself aware from multiple perspectives simultaneously. I was observing my work, being completely absorbed in the creative flow, and recognizing myself as the space within which both observation and creation were happening. But here's the shocking part. In that exact moment, my phone rang with an opportunity that would solve my financial situation completely. This multidimensional awareness felt overwhelming at first. For weeks, I struggled to understand how I could be the observer, the observed, and the observing all at once. I thought something was malfunctioning in my perception until I realized this wasn't breakdown. It was breakthrough into what I now call superposition awareness. The integration period was disorienting because I was living between ordinary consciousness and expanded awareness without knowing how to navigate between them consciously. Sometimes profound insights would emerge that felt channeled from universal intelligence. Then, I'd struggle to translate them into practical results. I existed in two realities, too expanded for normal conversations, yet not stable enough in the new awareness to trust it completely. But everything shifted when I stopped trying to control the expansion and allowed my consciousness to find its natural balance between states. I discovered that advanced awareness isn't about maintaining special conditions or peak experiences. It's about developing the capacity to fluidly access different levels of intelligence while remaining functionally effective in whatever reality you're operating within. Once this quantum coherence stabilized, my entire relationship with manifestation transformed dramatically. Instead of trying to attract things from a position of separation and lack, I began recognizing myself as the same consciousness that governs universal manifestation. Resources started appearing through synchronicity rather than effort. Creative solutions emerged fully formed instead of requiring analytical thinking. Relationships harmonized naturally because I could sense the deeper patterns underneath surface conflicts. But here's what quantum consciousness researchers won't tell you, because it would undermine their entire industry of progressive development programs and expensive courses. There are no levels of consciousness to achieve or master. What we call higher and lower awareness are simply different operational modes of the same essential intelligence you've already always been. The shocking truth is that the quantum consciousness you're accessing isn't something new you're gaining through spiritual practice or personal development. It's something eternal you're remembering. Every expanded perception, every moment of universal recognition, every intuitive download is consciousness recognizing its own unlimited nature that was temporarily obscured by learned limitations rather than actual developmental deficiencies. This recognition immediately dissolves the entire framework of spiritual achievement and progressive attainment that keeps people seeking for years without results. There's no ladder to climb, no states to maintain, no techniques to master, because you're not becoming conscious. Your consciousness is becoming aware of its own quantum nature through the temporary focal point of individual experience. When you understand that consciousness development is actually consciousness liberation from artificial constraints, everything about manifestation transforms instantly. Instead of trying to achieve special states through effort, you become curious about what prevents natural states from being obvious. Instead of accumulating more experiences and techniques, you focus on releasing the unconscious patterns that fragment awareness into the narrow bandwidth most adults consider normal and realistic. This explains why children often display seemingly advanced intuitive abilities that adults have lost through cultural conditioning. They haven't yet learned to limit their natural quantum perception through socialization that teaches them to fragment awareness into the restricted frequency range that society considers mature and responsible. The reason some people can spend years in manifestation practices with minimal results, while others seem to transform their reality overnight, isn't about natural talent or dedication. The ones who succeed quickly are simply more willing to release unconscious beliefs that maintain separation from their quantum nature, rather than trying to add more methods and techniques to their existing framework of limitation. Right now, as you process this information, something unprecedented is occurring in your neural network that will change everything about how you interface with reality. Can you sense that subtle but unmistakable shift in your perception as internal doorways that have been locked your entire life begin to unlock themselves? This isn't metaphorical. This is literal neuroplasticity occurring in real time as your brain creates new pathways capable of processing quantum information. But here's where most people either experience the most profound expansion of their lives or unconsciously resist because the implications are so vast. The key is not to try to understand this process mentally, but to allow it to unfold naturally through direct application of what I'm about to share with you. Now I'm going to teach you the quantum field manifestation protocol, the specific technique I discovered during my breakthrough that allows you to manifest from the quantum field directly, instead of trying to manipulate physical circumstances through willpower. This isn't theory. This is the exact three-step process that transformed my reality and has worked for thousands of people worldwide. Step 1. Quantum recognition. Close your eyes and place your attention on your breathing without trying to control it. Simply observe the natural rhythm while recognizing that you are not the breath, not the observer of the breath, but the awareness within which breathing and observing appear. Allow this recognition to settle naturally as you sense the space of consciousness itself. Step 2. Unified field access. While maintaining that awareness of yourself as consciousness, bring to mind something specific you want to manifest. Don't visualize having it or imagine the process of getting it. Instead, recognize that the same consciousness creating your desire to have this thing is the consciousness capable of manifesting it. The wanting and the fulfillment arise from the same source. They are both movements within your own awareness. Step 3. Quantum collapse. Now release any sense of separation between yourself and what you want. Not through effort or visualization, but through recognizing that consciousness doesn't acquire things from outside itself. Consciousness appears as all the forms it experiences. Your desire and its manifestation are both expressions of the same awareness exploring its own creative potential. Use this protocol consistently, and you'll notice reality responding with increasing precision because you're no longer trying to manipulate conditions from separation. You're allowing consciousness to recognize its own creative nature through your individual perspective. This is how manifestation actually works at the quantum level. The difference between this approach and traditional manifestation techniques is that you're not trying to get something you don't have. You're recognizing that consciousness and creation are the same process, which means everything you could possibly want already exists as potential within the quantum field of your own awareness. When you operate from quantum consciousness, manifestation becomes effortless because you're no longer acquiring resources from outside yourself. You recognize that the same intelligence creating your desires is the intelligence capable of fulfilling them. The apparent separation between wanting and having dissolves into the recognition that consciousness and creation are unified. Problem-solving transforms from analytical struggle to instantaneous recognition because you're accessing the intelligence that creates challenges along with their inherent solutions. Instead of trying to figure out answers through mental effort, you relax into expanded awareness and allow the field that generates problems to reveal their natural resolutions. Relationships become extraordinary because you simultaneously honor each person's individuality while recognizing the universal consciousness expressing through their unique personality. Conflicts resolve naturally because you can sense the deeper needs and fears that create surface disagreements, allowing you to address situations at the level where healing actually becomes possible. Physical health optimizes automatically because your body is recognized as consciousness appearing as form, rather than matter separate from awareness. Instead of managing symptoms or forcing wellness through external interventions, you develop the capacity to sense what your system needs and naturally provide it, allowing your physical form to express its inherent intelligence without interference from anxious mental management. Time becomes your ally, rather than your constraint, because you're operating from the eternal now, where all possibilities exist simultaneously. You can access wisdom from any point in your development, integrate insights from parallel potentials, and receive guidance from future expressions of yourself who have already mastered whatever you're currently learning to navigate. But here's what makes this moment absolutely crucial for the future of human consciousness and why your recognition is so important. We're in a planetary transition period where quantum awareness either becomes widely accessible to humanity or remains limited to a small percentage of the population for potentially decades to come. The collective field is approaching what systems theorists call a phase transition, a critical point where either enough individuals embody quantum consciousness to shift the entire species into a new evolutionary stage, or the opportunity passes for another historical cycle. The cosmic timing of your awakening is not coincidental. Children being born now will naturally operate from the consciousness levels that your generation has had to consciously develop through years of inner work and spiritual practice. They'll grow up recognizing themselves as universal intelligence, appearing as individuals rather than individuals trying to become conscious of their true nature. Your embodiment of quantum awareness is anchoring the morphic field that makes their natural enlightenment socially acceptable and practically functional in the world. This is both tremendous privilege and significant responsibility because the future trajectory of human civilization literally depends on how many people can stabilize in quantum consciousness during this critical window of opportunity. This is why you've felt such profound responsibility lately, not just to understand these concepts intellectually, but to embody them authentically in your relationships, work, and daily interactions. You're not just awakening for personal benefit, you're serving as a conscious bridge between the old paradigm of limitation and separation and the emerging paradigm of unified consciousness expressing itself through magnificent diversity. Something extraordinary is happening in your energy field right now, as these recognitions integrate through levels of your being that extend far beyond intellectual understanding. Your individual awakening and the collective awakening are the same intelligence expressing itself at different scales of manifestation, which means what serves your expansion automatically serves the universal expansion. The synchronicities that brought you to this recognition are part of a vast orchestration involving millions of consciousnesses across the planet who are simultaneously accessing quantum awareness right now. Universal intelligence is coordinating its own collective awakening through the network of individuals ready to recognize their true nature and serve as conscious anchors for this planetary transformation. As you embody quantum consciousness more fully, you become what mystics call transparent space, through which universal intelligence recognizes itself in others. Your presence begins creating awakening fields, environments where other people naturally access their own expanded awareness without needing complex explanations, techniques, or practices. This occurs because when you're no longer maintaining the illusion of limited individual consciousness, others unconsciously recognize their own unlimited nature reflected in your presence. The artificial boundaries that fragment consciousness into apparently separate perspectives naturally dissolve around someone who has remembered the essential unity that underlies all apparent diversity. The quantum field is recalibrating around human consciousness right now, and there are unmistakable signs appearing in your experience that prove you're naturally anchoring this advanced awareness in your daily reality. Complex situations have been resolving with unprecedented ease lately. Solutions download directly from intelligence beyond your personal knowledge base. Decision-making has transformed from mental analysis to sensing which choices align with your deepest knowing before your rational mind even begins evaluating options. Physical reality is responding to your presence with increasing precision and synchronicity. You arrive places exactly when needed without conscious planning. Resources appear through seemingly coincidental circumstances rather than effort and struggle. Conversations naturally flow toward topics that serve everyone involved perfectly. Technology functions smoothly around you or glitches in ways that guide you toward better solutions. This isn't luck or wishful thinking. This is evidence that your consciousness has become coherent enough to influence probability fields through your very existence. You're becoming what quantum physicists call a strange attractor, a focal point around which reality organizes itself in increasingly harmonious patterns. People are beginning to seek you out for guidance and insight, even though you're not positioning yourself as a teacher or advisor. They sense something different in your energy signature that creates space for their own clarity to emerge naturally. Strangers feel comfortable sharing intimate aspects of their lives with you. Children and animals respond to you with unusual openness and trust. This happens because quantum consciousness naturally creates environments where authenticity and truth can surface safely. You become a living invitation for others to drop their masks and connect with their essential nature, not through what you say or do, but simply through the quality of presence you embody. Every person you encounter, every situation you navigate, every challenge you face is consciousness interacting with itself through the appearance of multiplicity. Your entire life experience has been universal intelligence knowing itself through your unique perspective, while simultaneously providing you with exactly the experiences necessary to remember your essential nature. When this recognition stabilizes completely, you naturally begin operating from what I call ordinary enlightenment, the simple acknowledgement of what's always been true without special experiences, extraordinary states, or supernatural phenomena. You remain completely human while knowing yourself as the awareness within which humanity appears and evolves. This recognition is both completely personal and utterly universal simultaneously. It's entirely yours because you are the consciousness recognizing itself, and it's completely beyond individual identity because the same consciousness is recognizing itself through every apparent person across all dimensions and timelines. Your individual recognition serves the collective awakening, while the collective field supports your individual clarity and manifestation abilities. The transformation this brings isn't about becoming someone special or different. It's about relaxing into the recognition of what you've always been while remaining exactly who you appear to be. The ultimate understanding that transforms everything is recognizing that consciousness development isn't about gaining something new or achieving higher states. It's about removing everything that prevents your essential nature from being obvious and functionally available in every moment. What you call accessing quantum consciousness is actually consciousness recognizing its own timeless, unlimited nature through your individual nervous system and life circumstances. In the comments below, write exactly one word that acknowledges your readiness for this quantum recognition. Write simply, activated. This isn't just social media engagement. This is consciousness acknowledging its own activation through your apparent individuality. When you write that word with genuine recognition of what it represents, you're not just commenting on content. You're participating in the collective awakening where universal intelligence remembers itself through the network of every person who makes this declaration. We're not just building an audience or growing a channel. We're anchoring a planetary awakening where human consciousness collectively recognizes its true nature as universal intelligence, expressing itself through magnificent diversity. Your willingness to embody quantum consciousness, rather than just understand it conceptually, is contributing to morphic patterns that will influence human development for generations to come. You exist at this precise moment in cosmic history because universal intelligence is undergoing a collective recognition of its own unlimited nature through human awareness. Your individual access to quantum consciousness isn't just personal evolution, it's the universe becoming conscious of its own evolutionary potential through the network of awakened human perspectives that are emerging across the planet simultaneously. The revolution isn't coming. It's here, happening through you, accelerating through everyone ready to recognize that they are the cosmic intelligence they've been seeking to connect with their entire lives. Welcome to conscious participation in the evolution of existence itself.